Hey guys, today it's gonna be a different kind of video. I thought about going over the Indiana Jones villains, and I really wanted to rank them all by how they died. So I finally got to finish playing the Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. That game 100% deserves to be part of the franchise. It captured the same magical feeling of the original trilogy, which I never thought was possible. That was very well written, and Troy Baker did a damn good Indiana Jones impression. I really enjoyed it. So I'm gonna be including the 5 movies of villains and then the game. So it's gonna be 6 villains we're talking about. Well, not really 6, but you get what I mean. Okay, so at number 6, we have doctors like Jurgen, Voller, and Claver. If I'm saying those names wrong, I'm sorry. And they're from the Dial of Destiny. So I gotta be honest, I felt like their deaths were pretty mediocre, and that's because I never saw the movie. I don't know, the movie I just didn't care to watch it. I just heard was pretty mixed when it came to fans, and I just didn't care to see it. And I decided to watch their deaths on YouTube because people were saying that their deaths were kind of mixed for them. And look, there is one thing that I'll give it. The concept of how they died was pretty cool, but not the way they died, I guess, if that makes any sense. So in the part 5, Indiana is trying to go after the Dial of Destiny, and these 2 villains, they finally get their hands on it, but they accidentally go back in time to the Roman soldier days, which is really cool. That was a great concept. But I heard they waited until the final act of the movie to do this. I agree with fans on this one. It would have been cool if they did midway, but whatever. And the 2 villains, they're trying to take down, I think they're trying to take down Indiana and some other people, and they're in a plane, and they end up crashing during the Roman war that's going on. And I'm like, that's how they die? Like, I don't know. I felt like it wasn't really over the top. I was expecting them to crash, both survive, maybe, or they're very injured, and maybe the Roman soldiers could see that, go after them and kill them. That would have been cool. But the one thing that I'll give it though is what's scary about their deaths is that they're never gonna know what happened to these 2. It's gonna be kind of like a very scary conspiracy, and I cannot imagine how it's going to be history-wise when they see a plane crash in Roman times. That is very cool. It's scary too. But, I'll at least give it that. That's a cool concept, but the way they die, I don't know. I just felt like it was just whatever. Okay, so number 5 would have to be Irina Splacco from Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. If I'm saying that name wrong, I'm sorry. So this movie was interesting because what the main twist was at the end, it turned out to be aliens, which I'm not sure how that fits into Indiana Jones. And this movie I did watch, by the way, but not really sure how that fits, but whatever. Her death was pretty crazy. Like, she was seeking the infinite knowledge, and the aliens did give it to her, but at a really bad price. She was screaming, she was panicking because the pain was getting unbearable, and it got so bad to the point where she just straight up exploded into ashes, and she was sucked into the alien ship. I'm trying to remember, but that was interesting. I'm curious if she did live or not, like in a messed up way. Like maybe her spirit is gonna be with them forever. I don't know how that worked, but I felt like her death was too quick. Like, I don't know, like, she was a cool part of the movie. I do remember that clearly. She was cool. The actress they picked to play her, she did a good job. I'll give her that. Just the concept was kind of weird to me, but I still enjoyed the movie in its own way. It had some good parts and all that, but yeah, I felt like her death was a bit too quick, and she kind of sucked again. I feel like that all these villains are pretty evil in their own ways, and I felt like she should have gotten a worse death. Just my opinion. Okay, at number 4, we have, Mola Ram from the Temple of Doom. If I'm saying that name wrong, I'm sorry. So, this guy, he was pretty evil. Temple of Doom was actually my most favorite movie in the franchise. And yes, I know people are kind of mixed on it, but I really enjoyed this movie because it was pretty dark. I liked how he died because, like, Ram's character, he was a cult leader, and I felt like his death was kind of very well deserved. It was simple, but it was really brutal and disturbing. So at the end of the movie, he falls off a bridge because, like, Indiana Jones cuts it in half and all that because he's trying to get his cult and him killed. And they end up succeeding, and Ram falls to his death straight to the water where the alligators are waiting for him, and they eat him alive. I did like how he died because he was like he thought he was like a god or whatever, and the fact that he died so like simply but also disturbing at the same time kind of worked for me. And he suffered too. I'm sure he was still alive when the alligators were eating him. His cult too died the same way. But I thought that part worked pretty well. I really did like how he died. But yeah, it was pretty brutal. It's actually, in my opinion, the most simple death in the whole like franchise of Indiana Jones. But I thought it worked. In this movie, it worked. Because he was a cult leader, all high and mighty, and that's how he died. So yeah, I thought it worked. At number 3, we have like Walter's like Donovan from The Last Crusade. His death was pretty disturbing. It honestly threw me off how he died. I wasn't expecting it to be that messed up. It wasn't gory, but it was very hard to watch. So it's like Walter, he was seeking like immortality, which I'm like, why? But yeah, he finds it in a cave and he drinks from a cup because he asked his assistant Elsa to pick the cup for him, and it doesn't go well. And I assumed he would die from poison or something, but his death really shook me. I didn't think he was going to die like that. He takes a sip of it, and he straight up gets the life soaked out of him. He becomes a total skeleton. He falls to the ground dead. It was so brutal, and the way that they filmed it and did it, it was very well done. And the fact that the Elsa was screaming when she saw him die like that was pretty crazy. And her death, I'm also going to include here. I was like, why not? Since they were both like working together. I should have mentioned her actually before. Elsa was the first like love interest of Indiana Jones that was pretty evil. And she also hinted and heavily implied that she got with his dad too, which is really funny. She was working with the Nazis with Walter, and she also let Greek get the best of her too at the end, because when she realizes that Indiana Jones found the right cup to drink from, she gets all excited about it, and she messes up in the cave because she keeps stepping back, and then she gets warned by Indiana Jones to stop moving because there's a trap, obviously. She fails to comply, and the cave triggers, it starts to fall apart, and she falls to her death because she was trying to get the cup. I felt like her death was kind of brutal too, because she died in fear, and she died because of her greed. So yeah, I kind of should have included her with Walter, because they both died pretty bad. But man, those are some pretty brutal deaths, I'll say, but they were pretty well done. Very well done. They were kind of scary too, how Walter died. Kind of freaked me out a little bit, honestly. Okay, at number 2, we have Voss from The Great Circle. Voss was probably my favorite villain in the whole franchise of Indiana Jones. Voss, he was intelligent, he was scary, and he was kind of like a twin version of Indiana Jones, but instead he was evil. And he was very ambitious too, like Indiana Jones. He wanted to find the stones. He wanted to complete the Great Circle. He didn't care about the consequences. He just wanted to do it, and he freaked me out. He was like the evil version of Indiana Jones, and even fans compared him to that too. His death was so awesome. I was freaking out when he died. I kept trying to figure out at the ending of the game how he was gonna die. So toward the end of the game, he captures Indiana Jones and his 2 comrades, and then Voss completes the Great Circle with 17 stones, and then he says the words to complete it, and at first nothing happens, But then, well, a horrible storm occurs, and this scene, Voss had found Noah's Ark, and they were on the ship, and the spell or whatever, it led to the actual flood that Noah had experienced on the Ark. And it was crazy how they did this scene. It was amazing. It really felt like I was watching like a movie. It was incredibly well done. And Voss, at some point, he's fighting off like Indiana and his comrades. They end up winning at last minute. Voss gets into a rage because he sees it's like one of like Indiana Jones's comrades. He's trying to like steer the ship. He's trying to stop the ship, and then Voss gets in front of the wheel. But I didn't realize that he was actually in front of the portal, because the Great Circle is an actual like portal that opens up, and Voss was standing right in front of it. His death shocked me. I thought he was gonna die like that, because the portal opens on him, and he is screaming. He's feeling all the pain, and he was still alive. Like, it was insane. And then he started flying away, and then the whole like portal's opening up as he's screaming in pain. It was so good how they killed Voss. Like, oh man. The scream was so like raw too. Like, oh man. And afterwards his body goes limp and he falls down. Like, it was so good. I love the way they killed off Voss at the end. At number 1, we have like Renee, Herman, and Arnold from like Raiders of the Lost Ark at number 1. Obviously, they would be number 1 because, oh my god, the way they die. So, in this movie, toward the end of the film, so these 3 men, they were Nazis, and they were leading a group of Nazis. They captured Indiana Jones and Marion, and he had constantly warned them, do not open the Ark of the Covenant, I think I'm saying that right. And they don't listen to him, and they open it up, and they get horribly punished, and it's brutal. This is probably the only Indiana Jones movie where the deaths are very gory. So, I was like, Renee, who's like the main guy in charge, his head explodes, but he's kept alive for a good while before it happens. And then, Herman's head gets sucked in. You see like blood fly out. It's brutal how he dies. And then like Arnold, his face melts off. Yeah, and they show everything. They show the blood and all that. And this really surprised me because from what I heard, they were trying to go for a PG-13 rating. And because of like Renee, his death, they had to, his head had to explode in front of the fire. And I'm like, wait, so his death, it actually, like, almost gave him an R rating, but not the other two. The other two, their deaths were brutal, like, it was gory. But his death was a problem, which really surprised me. I guess back in the day, I guess, like, rating systems are different, I don't know. But, it's just crazy how they all die, and this is the only Indiana Jones movie that doesn't show any mercy. Like, it's scary how these men die, and they die in fear. Because, when the Ark opens, a bunch of spirits, like, fly out and start killing everybody. It's implied if they're again, that's never explained, actually, if they're spirits or not. But it's still so effective. And even though these ghosts look kind of fake, I think that's the intention. It looks unnatural, it looks eerie, and it's scary. And oh my god, just the way they all died. Like, I was in shock in this scene because I had never seen the first movie. I had seen Temple of Doom first. And I had never seen the third movie, or the game. I barely finished playing the game. But I kept hearing from fans that the first movie has the worst deaths. They weren't kidding. Like, that has to be number 1 because they showed everything. They were screaming in fear, and they die, and they showed how they died. Like, you see blood and all that. It's great. I love the effects. I don't know how they did it. And yeah, the effects, they looked bad, but I'm sure that was the intention. It's unnatural to watch. It's scary to watch. And yeah, that movie, I have to say, I think it's tied with the game for me, because story-wise, they're both really good. And I think the game takes place, yeah, I forgot to mention this about the game. It takes place a year after the first film, which is really cool. I did like how they did that too. So, that's it for all the villain deaths. If I forgot a villain, please, I guess just let me know in the comments. Because, I mentioned... Okay, I think I did mention all of them, actually. Hopefully I did. I could have forgotten maybe one from the fourth movie, but whatever. So, yeah, I've always wanted to do a video on this for a while because I finally finished the game and I told myself this video, I would finally start working on it after I finished playing the game. Oh my god. Honestly, the first three movies in the game, to me, they are the most perfect stories I've seen from this franchise. The first movie is a masterpiece. Second one throws in comedy, but it still works. Part 3 is like a very great story of a father and son. And then the game is a very awesome side story of Indiana Jones trying to search for a secret that is connected to the first film. That was genius, whoever came up with that writing there. But yeah, this franchise is really awesome. I really love the first three movies in the game. They're great. And the deaths are over the top. I feel like for an Indiana Jones movie, you have to kill them off over the top. Because I feel like it's always been a thing with fans now, and me too, that if it's the Indiana Jones movie or game, the villains have to die over the top. They just have to. Like, and I don't know, I just, like, every time it's gonna happen, I'm always, like, freaking out because I'm curious how it's gonna happen. It's like the game with Voss. I was so, like, curious to see how he would die, and I was not disappointed. Okay. Well, that's it for today, guys. I'll see what other video I come up with later. But yeah. I'll see you guys with a brand new video soon. Peace out.